Greetings, my friends. I'm privileged, humble, and grateful for the opportunity to introduce the 2020 recipient of the Robert G. Stanton Award for Leadership in Diversity. He is George McDonald, Youth Program Manager for the National Park Service. George was born and raised in Harlem community of New York. He holds a BA degree with honors in political science from Hampton University, Hampton, Virginia, and has done graduate work at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and Bowie State University in Maryland. Beginning in 2006, George worked in a dual capacity as the management analyst for the Associate Director for Partnerships and Visitor Experiences and as acting National Youth Program Manager. He was responsible for planning and executing the successful reorganization of the entire directorate, managing several projects and coordinating in the NPS youth program nationally. In July 2008, George was appointed by the director of the National Park Service as a program manager of the youth program. George successfully launched and indeed increased youth participation in a variety of programs. He was particularly attentive to increasing the diversity in these programs, not only from racial and ethnic, but also from gender. And George also was very sensitive to the need to expand opportunities for our youth who are suffering or experiencing disabilities, as well as those who are intellectually challenged. And he made sure that his program were sensitive to the needs of these youth within the National Park Service program. George designed and launched several youth intern programs, bringing youth from historically Black colleges and universities, from Hispanic serving institutions, and he is now preparing to launch a program that will address the increased participation of American Indian youth in programs of the National Park Service. George, in keeping with the time, recognized that the National Park Service needed to be competitive in terms of attracting the most highly motivated and energetic and well skilled youth in the sciences, not only from the technical standpoint, but from the natural resources as well. And we look forward to George launching that program in the not too distant future. I could cite a number of programs that have been inaugurated under George leadership and his unwavering commitment to engage in youth in this noble endeavor that we call conservation. To that end, George has been recognized nationally by a number of organizations for his commitment and his accomplishment. I have had the opportunity to know and work with George for a number of years, and I can personally attest to his commitment. So it's my personal honor on behalf of my colleagues and friends at Clemson University, and particularly in the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management, to honor George McDonald with the Robert G. Stanton Leadership Award for Diversity in the year 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, George McDonald.
Thank you so much, Bob. This is a great honor to receive the Robert G. Stanton Award. I have some thank yous. I know I only have about a minute or two, but there's some individuals who have had a huge impact on my life and my professional career. And I'll start, the first thank you goes to Bob Stanton. He's been a mentor, a friend, an advisor, both professionally and personally for over 20 years. And to him, I'm forever indebted, and will always have a huge amount of gratitude for his support of myself and the work that I've been involved in for the last several decades. I also want to thank my late brother, Mariba McDonald, who was a National Park Service historian, who was the one who introduced me to the National Park Service in the first place and to Bob Stanton. My parents, George and Hattie Elizabeth McDonald, who are now deceased, for instilling a strong work ethic and the importance of education. Former National Park Service Director Fran Manila and former National Park Service Deputy Director Don Murphy, I owe a huge debt of gratitude for taking a chance on me early in my career, giving me the opportunity to work on some fantastic projects at Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site Development, the African Burial Ground Development, and probably my favorite project was being the project manager for the Presidential Commission for the development of the National Museum for African American History and Culture, which now we can see on the National Mall. Former acting director Dan Smith, who has been a mentor almost from day one, who taught me the importance of political awareness and understanding that everything that you do, there's some politics which is wrapped into it. Don't get caught in the politics, but just be aware of the politics. To Nancy Kaufman, who was, I served under her when she was Deputy Associate Director for the Partnership and Visitor Experience Directorate. She emphasized the importance of understanding the budget process. If you didn't understand the budget process and the strategic process of a federal agency, you could never get anything done. Diane Chalfant, who I worked for a number of years, who taught me the importance of paying attention to detail, and whenever developing any program, to think, how would the feel about this particular program? What is the feel? What are the parks? How do the parks, how will they react to this program? And does this program help to enhance the experience at the park? Former Deputy Director Mickey Fern, for getting me to think big and bold and be on the cutting edge of everything that I did. Former Acting Director David Vella, when I worked for him, he would always talk to me about be focused, stay true to your principles, and always think about diversity and inclusion in all that you do. And I've worked for David in the various capacities that he has been a leader in the National Park Service. But we first started out as friends and colleagues, and it was just an honor to work for him. Former Acting Director Mike Reynolds, who supported when I worked for him after David left the Associate Director's position, really supported some of the biggest and most important youth development programs that I think that the National Park Service has developed. To Mary Ellen Sprinkle, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the Core Network. A huge part of what I do, a huge component of the work that I'm involved in, involves partners. It involves people outside of the federal government who work collaboratively to make sure that we get this great work done for the American people and that we are protecting our natural and cultural resources. And then lastly, my team. This is really a group award. This is not something that I earn by myself as an individual. I have an amazing team who works for me, Erica Austin, Charmaine Hickerson, Alex Trimble, Ernestine White. Their collective intellect, their energy, their commitment is what makes it possible for us to do what we do every day. And again, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Clemson University, for this special honor.